My name is Brad Egland. I've authored more than 3,500 articles on the web and more than a dozen ebooks, several video articles, and hope you're familiar with my content. If not, go to www.bradegland.com and check out my blog, and you'll find links to hundreds of my articles there. So, again, I'd like to talk to you today about cybersecurity. Does it matter on our projects, and what to do about it? First off, what is cybersecurity? Well, cybersecurity is basically the body of technologies, processes, and practices dealing with protecting our data, networks, computers, programs against unauthorized access. So, is it a concern? Yes. Is it something we should be concerned about on our projects? I'm going to state now at the beginning of this video, definitely, and let's talk about why I feel that way. Over the past 5 years, I've been attending Black Hat, the data and cybersecurity conference. They have one in the USA. I obviously go to the one that's in Las Vegas every year around August, the beginning of August. There's one in Europe that's going on right now in Amsterdam. It's always occurring in the early part of November, I believe. There's one in Asia as well that's I think in January of every year. And there's an executive summit in Arizona that actually starts in December. So if you have an opportunity to go one, they're fascinating. I went to the one here in August again for the 5th year in a row, and I watched a demonstration, a presentation on how Charlie Miller and Chris Velasek hacked a Chrysler Jeep Cherokee vehicle, were able to take control of the stereo, the entire computer system, and with a reporter behind the wheel, they were able to drive it into a ditch from a couple hundred miles away, or a couple thousand miles away, I believe. So it resulted in a 1.4 million vehicle recall, which is pretty impressive. They were doing it purely to alert individuals within these organizations of the security of their vehicles and the vulnerability. Can everything be hacked? It's interesting. The Mercedes-Benz CEO said, you can't hack our vehicle, and that's not true. Everything can be hacked. If you want it to be, I've been watching CSI Cyber, and I'm a firm believer everything can be hacked. I don't put a lot of stock in the technology I watch on these shows, but that particular show has been very realistic. I've checked into the things that they've done. They're very doable, and they actually mimic some of the cyber attacks that we've actually seen in real life. Last night's the most recent episode was hacking of hospital systems and endangering patients' lives. And 2 years ago at Black Hat, a presentation was going to happen. The individual wasn't able to make it, but going to happen on a demonstration on how he could access a pacemaker from a distance and put that person's life at risk. So anything can be hacked. Don't listen to anybody who says otherwise. On our projects, are we concerned about cybersecurity? I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to tell you why. I used to work as a manager and a developer and a project manager on a financial aid project handling millions of very sensitive financial aid application information from individuals all around the world. I had to have top-level FBI security clearance. Obviously, our focus at that time was internal security to the people working on the project. Now, that type of project would be very concerned about external security as well, or should be. Looking at the large box stores like Target in the U.S., and Citibank is a bank, was hacked, I believe, in the last 12 months. There have been hundreds of thousands, if not millions, hundreds of millions of records that have been hacked, have been vulnerable, identity at risk, and credit information at risk, financial data at risk, and it's been damaging to these organizations. and I'm certain that they probably wish they'd put a little more planning and dollars into cybersecurity to fight cybercrime and unauthorized access. So obviously, infiltration like that can be damaging to your organization, to your client base, because you're putting their data at risk. And really it comes down to three things we need to consider on how much cybersecurity we want to plan into our projects, if at all, of course, because projects can be anywhere from $500 something you're going to do in an afternoon to $50 million programs like the one I worked on from a financial aid standpoint for the Department of Education. So it depends on what type of data you're working with and how much money and the length of the project, etc. So three of the major considerations on which you're going to need to look into for cybersecurity and how much you do with it is you're going to consider what you're protecting. You're going to consider what skills are needed, and you're going to consider the cost. So let's talk about what you're protecting. Obviously, if you're protecting data that's very sensitive, you're going to need to look into cybersecurity. If you're protecting customer financial data, you're going to be concerned about cybersecurity, because it's going to affect, in the long run, one hack can take a business down, because you can lose your customer base, as I mentioned. You can lose your own organization's sensitive data. The risks are potentially very high. Next, skills. What are you going to need in terms of skills? Well, I've read articles where individuals have become security experts in organizations just from the ground up. Do you need a certification? Do you need certified experts? They don't come cheap. You can find them. You can hire them for your organization. And if you are trying to protect something that's going to cost, that has a risk of millions of dollars, you're going to want a top-level expert. Oftentimes you can home grow somebody like this, because you can start a cybersecurity team from within, take top experts, top data techs, and tech leads from within your organization who are interested in cybersecurity, and have them do the research necessary and grow the skills and network through things like Black Hat with other individuals looking to fight this with definite knowledge of how to hack computer systems, and they can learn and grow within your organization and help fight the potential cybercrime that your organization may face. Now, let's consider the cost. How much are you willing to spend on it? That's part of finding an expert and part of planning. We all need to put risk management, risk planning into each project that we manage. It's often an overlooked necessary evil. I consider cars necessary evil. If I was a collector of cars, I wouldn't. It would be important to me, but cars right now, they get me from point A to point B. So the cars are kind of necessary evil. They come with expenses like gasoline and maintenance and fixes. So risks are kind of like necessary evils on our project. We really need to look at them. You kind of have to have them. You kind of have to pay attention to them, because they can be very damaging to our projects. Risks left unchecked can bring the project down instantly. If you do the proper management and planning for risks, you know what to do to avoid and mitigate those risks when they show up. And cybersecurity is definitely one of those risks. How much are we willing to put into cost-wise into cybersecurity depends on how sensitive the data is, what the risk is to your project and to your organization and to your customer's organization, and you have to kind of weigh that in deciding how much you're going to spend on cybersecurity. I can't tell you how much, but definitely if you've got a $5 million project out there, it's worth putting $100,000 of cybersecurity money into it, in my opinion. It's something you have to probably take up with your executive team. You have to look at your organization and the technical skills you have and how much time you have on your project for planning. So, again, the three things you need to consider are what you're protecting. You're protecting your organization, your client data, your client, your individual data within your organization. What skills do you need to take this on, and do you have them available, or do you have to go outside, and what costs are you willing to spend on it based on how much money the project is bringing in and how sensitive the information is that you're trying to protect.